Welcome to Fun and Fundraising, everybody, the podcast where we talk with people behind top nonprofit galas and signature fundraising events to showcase how they positively transform their communities. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, and today I'm really excited to have a special guest on. We have Brittany Franklin. She is the CEO and founder of an organization called Sky High, and they have a wonderful event. We've done luncheons before, but we've never done a brunch fundraising event before. So I'm really excited to talk to her about her annual fundraising event, Ladies Who Brunch. So with that, Brittany, welcome, and we're so excited to have you on as a guest today.
Thank you, Rob. We are honored to share our mission and the excitement of our Ladies Who Brunch event with all of your guests and audience.
Well, I'm great. I'm glad to do it. And let's dive right in. So, you had mentioned, talking, the mission. So talk a little bit about what the mission of Sky High is.
We are fighting childhood cancer every single day. And we do that by investing in major infrastructure at Texas Children's Cancer Center, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, Covenant Children's, amongst many others, as well as investing in groundbreaking research and treatment protocols, right? There or better ways to treat our children with this devastating diagnosis. And so we're working with Texas Children's on their immunotherapy center and amongst many other projects. But that is what we do day in and day out. And in addition, we directly serve the families every single day by offering groceries, fuel cards. We help with parking. We send kids on adventure trips around the world. And we do so much to just bring some joy and hope into their world when they're going through the toughest time that'll ever be in their entire lives.
Thank you for that answer. And there's a couple of things you said that we're going to touch upon a little bit later on in the show. But I'm glad you highlighted the mission and how every day it's really about helping children with cancer. What was the motivation for you to launch Sky High?
So I grew up on a small farm in South Louisiana, and I was introduced to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital as a volunteer through another organization called Beanies for St. Jude out of Kaplan, Louisiana. I mean, a very, very, very small town. But all of the surrounding festival queens would raise money and then take a trip to Memphis, Tennessee, and be able to see, touch, and feel exactly what we were raising money for, and that was families that were battling cancer. When I walked through the doors of the Ronald McDonald House in Memphis, Tennessee, I was 16 and suddenly surrounded by 53 children of all ages that were battling cancer. And I was in awe. I mean, right? I was speechless. I had no idea that this was in existence in the world. And I left there saying that it wasn't fair. Kids had cancer and we needed to do something about it. And so my senior year of college, we started a fundraising event, and it was actually sporting clays. I shot sporting clays avidly growing up as a kid, and we hosted the first fundraiser, and we ended up raising $50,000 and kind of blew our goal way out of the water. And the community wrapped its arms around us, and we took those proceeds to St. Jude, and that's when I met my legacy family, as I like to call it. And this little boy was 5 years old. His name is Bryce. He was fighting Wilms tumor, which is a kidney cancer. And we didn't have a lot of time to spend with Bryce, unfortunately, because he gained his angel wings on his 6th birthday, which was February 14th of 2008, Valentine's Day. And so that was really the true motivation for me to punt law school and start my career in oil and gas so I could simultaneously open the nonprofit. When Bryce passed away, it was just, I don't know, it was so devastating to watch his parents and his siblings, and it just, no child should die in the dawn of life. That's Danny Thomas's quote. And I truly believe that and wholeheartedly want to fight for these families. And so that was the motivation behind it all. And from that day forward, we started fundraising, and we started doing it the hard way, which is through special events, which we'll talk a little bit about in a little while.
Absolutely. So, I'm really, it was wonderful hearing, your journey as to how you started it really, from a young age. The one question I have for you, because I always like to ask this of guests we have on the program, there are so many different causes, and we were talking in the green room about, there's lots of different nonprofits to go, events to go to. What makes you so passionate in particular about helping children with cancer?
Children are our future, Rob. They are innocent. They deserve joy and happiness and the opportunity to grow up and get their driver's license and maybe get married and go to college and buy their first home and start their career. And it's just, if you think about all the things that we've been able to do in our lives, right? I'll be 40 this year, and I think about all of the opportunities I've had. It's been wonderful. Although life is very hard, we all know it, and it comes with trials and challenges. I've had a wonderful almost 40 years. Why are children that are 5, 3, 17, 12 being robbed of that because they're dealt an unlucky card, and that card is cancer? I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We all know an adult who's been through some type of cancer. My grandfather died of liver cancer, and when he was diagnosed, he had 6 months to live. But he told me on his deathbed at 76 years old to keep fighting for those children because he lived. He told me the good, the bad, the ugly, and he had a good life. And at
Yeah.
76, he was at peace with going. But when he told me to keep fighting, I mean, think about it. He was once 5, he was once 17. He got to go to the army and do these things. I just feel that, you know, these are our innocent children. They have everything in front of them. And all of a sudden, you know, in a blink of an eye, you're hooked up to a chemotherapy pole, or you're removing a brain tumor, or you're going through radiation treatments. And it's like, what is going on? This is just so unfair. It's just the passion comes from watching Bryce Norwood, a 5-year-old little boy with big brown eyes and so much life and so much joy and so much belief in Jesus. You know, I watched him melt away, and that is just not fair.
Yeah.
It's just not fair. And think about parents. Losing a child is the worst thing that can ever happen to you, ever. And so our passion and motivation is to be able to make an impact so these kids have a future. So these parents are not planning a funeral, right? Or going through 3 years of treatment for the most common form of cancer, which is leukemia. 3 years in and out of those hospitals, right? Your life stops. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, black, white, Catholic, Muslim. It does not matter. It does not discriminate. One day, a child is 7 and on the playground, and they come home and they tell their mom their knee hurts. And 48 hours later, they are diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. And you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what? So there's just so much work to do in terms of the life-saving treatments need to be better. People need to recognize and be aware that they are not bulletproof, and your child can be that kid the next day. And so we have so much work to do, Rob. And I think it just fuels our fire. And when we work with families directly, like we do every single day, and we watch, again, just normal kids one day at the playground, or, Natalie, she's at UTSA 19, 1 minute, and then the next minute she's diagnosed with AML leukemia and fighting for her life while all her friends are back at college doing their thing. So I could go on and on, Rob, but it's just, yeah, you can tell there's a fire
There,
inside, and we want to eradicate cancer in children.
well, there is a deep fire in you. And one thing that I'm impressed with was something you actually said in your first answer, and that is, the organizations that you partner with. So there's Covenant, there's Texas Children's, there's St. Jude. So you partner with, really with medical facilities or medical treatment organizations, really at local, regional, and national level. So talk a little bit about why it's important for you as a nonprofit to partner with other nonprofits to further your organization's mission.
Yes, Rob. So let's take St. Jude, for example. They're in Memphis, Tennessee, the only one of its kind in the world. And they are what I consider the mothership, right? All of their families go there at no charge. Your child is treated for free. A parent and child receives free room and board. medical, housing, food, transportation, all of that's taken care of at St. Jude. But it's only done because of the funding from organizations like Sky High for Kids and other supporters. Sky High is one of the largest in history in terms of dollars donated to St. Jude. And because of that, they've been able to build a surgery and ICU center with another partner of ours called Curativity. We built the entire West Wing, which gave an opportunity for children in the most critical times to receive, game-changing surgeries and have a family waiting room so the mom and dad can be there when their child wakes up from an 8-hour brain surgery. We've been able to build the largest research laboratory in the country, 625,000 square feet.
Wow.
We were able to build the second floor, which is solely dedicated to research on the deadliest forms of childhood cancer. So when you're looking at the stats, it's wonderful that leukemia is over 90% cure rate, right? That's amazing. 60 years ago, your child would not survive. So look at the advancements and where we've gotten because of private funding and donations. Now we have to tackle the really tough stuff, the brain cancers that only 300 children are diagnosed with, or solid tumors, right? And so without Sky High's funding, I'll tell you right now, Rob, that research is delayed and delayed and delayed. It's not coming from pharmaceutical and it's not coming from our government. It comes from Sky High for Kids and the community that supports us. And we can say, yes, St. Jude, you need $20 million to build the neurobiology center, the development. You need this 20 million. You got it, coach. That's going to combat the deadliest forms of childhood cancer. We're all in. And then we come back and host our galas and our sporting clay tournaments and our golf tournaments and bring the community together so we can complete the funding, right? And so Texas Children's came to us and said, we know and believe after clinical trials, a decade of clinical trials, immunotherapy is working. It's working.
Right.
And it's a non-invasive way to treat children. We need $10 million to build the research center and to build the new patient floor. 22 new oncology rooms, 10 bone marrow transplant units are now operating. Kids are there. It's rolling. And that was a $10 million commitment we had to make. And we had to then turn around to our community and say, we need you for this specific project, right? So Sky High has to partner with the best, Texas Children's, St. Jude. Those are our top two. We're in two $20 million commitments currently and working every day to just, chip away at it. And then Covenant Children's is in Lubbock, Texas. And every child that's diagnosed throughout Southeast New Mexico, throughout West Texas, has nowhere to be treated, Rob. There's nowhere to go. So 180 families a year are traveling to Houston, Texas to receive treatment at Texas Children's. Think about that.
That's far.
8 hours away, 10 hours away, 5 hours away. Families are broken up. We have a family right now. We just flew to Houston from Odessa, dad and 3 kids, to come see mom and Mila, who's inpatient for 30 days. Okay. Yeah. There's so much that goes into it. So if Covenant says, Brittany, we want to keep our families home, we have what we need to treat for basic cancers, but we don't have the space. We literally don't have the infrastructure. We want to expand our unit. Sign us up. We committed $1 million to Covenant, and we're helping everybody in West Texas understand the needs that are right there in Lubbock, Texas. So they come to us, Rob, and they tell us what their needs are. Our executive board and our key volunteers gather, and over several months at a time, to make those types of commitments, we drill into what is our vision in childhood cancer. What's the mission? Fund research to save lives, provide comfort. So as long as our decisions check those boxes, that's how we make that decision. And then we turn around to the public and say, let St. Jude, Texas Children's, Covenant, Ronald McDonald houses that we support, do their job and take care of the kids. They shouldn't worry about the money. They shouldn't worry about the funding. That's our job. And what's a little extra special about Sky High is you do get to see, touch, and feel exactly where that dollar goes. Because instead of just donating it to the facility, which we highly encourage, and you kind of don't know where maybe it goes, right? It could go
Exactly.
to leukemia research, it could go to treatment, it could go to paying a doctor's salary, whatever. It's all needed. But if you want to work on brain cancer research with us, or bone cancer research with us, or work on funding Colton's trip to the Super Bowl because he's been away from his three brothers for 11 months.
Yeah.
They're in Phoenix, he's in Memphis at St. Jude. We need to put that family together and give him his adventure trip of a lifetime. You know exactly where it's going. And we invite our donors to walk alongside us. We just hosted S&P Supply at Texas Children's this week. They walked the floor. They saw the families, right? They got to see exactly where their $500,000 commitment is going and the impact it's making. And I just feel that, you know, our organization gives the community that opportunity.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up community, and I'm really glad you went into detail because I don't think people realize. And I remember the first time I drove into Texas from Louisiana, not being from Texas, and it's 884 miles. That's the mile marker on I-10 when you are crossing in. That's how far it is. So like when people are like, if you're listening like in Massachusetts, Massachusetts, it's a much smaller geographic state. I mean, that's why it's such an important thing. And when you have such a vast geography, and that actually leads me to my next question about, you had mentioned also events and events in plural. I know you all are in multiple markets. So talk about how you decide the selection process of how you and your team consider setting up a chapter or setting up planning routes in a new city or a new community.
That's a great question, Rob. So traditionally, it has been following the industry that our organization was really, our backbone, if you will. So I worked in the energy industry for 14 years. So naturally, when I would visit an oil company or a service company for my day job, I would then segue into, by the way, if y'all would be interested, our organization is fighting childhood cancer, and we have a sporting clay tournament coming up on X date, or we have a golf tournament, or have you heard about our ladies brunch? And so traditionally, we were really grounded by the support of the oil and gas industry, and we still are, and we're still proud of that. But we've been able to diversify our reach and add executive board members from multiple different industries and grab volunteers from multiple different industries to help us grow, again, and diversify. But when we so we started in Lafayette, right? Well, I moved to Houston to start my career. Naturally, we built a network here and just gave them the compelling speech of, I need your help. I need 10 people on the ground that are going to volunteer their time and energy and resources to help us get this next clay shoot going. Are y'all in or what? And so people just gravitated towards the mission first, the passion, and said, yeah, we're in, Britt. We're going to help you. And we had the plans. They're nearly back then, not as good as they are today, but we had the plans and we just did it, Rob. It's one of those things where I tell my team every day, sometimes we have to see what spaghetti noodles are going to stick on the darn wall, right? I know we're going to go through some trials and some challenges and maybe some stuff's not going to work, but we don't know unless we try it. And so I remember telling my original team, we were all in college together when we started Sky High. I said, I know that y'all don't think Houston's going to work because y'all don't know anybody. You live in Lafayette. I've been here a year. I've met some great people. We can do it. So we gathered those people. We hosted our clay shoot. We raised $10,000. Nothing compared to what we did the year before in Lafayette in college. And they looked at me and said, Britt, I'm not sure this is going to work. I said, I'm telling you, give it time. It takes time to then build organically because we don't have the money to take out a $500,000 billboard on I-10, right? We have to organically tell people one by one by one and give them those flyers and show them the impact we're making. And
Right.
they're going to, it's a build it and they will come. And that's what we do. So from Lafayette to Houston, Houston's grown from a $10,000 year in 2008 to now raising over $3 million a year in this community. Okay. And then we went to San Antonio. So my career at that time was really taking off in corporate sales. And that's when the big Eagle Ford shale boom hit, right?
Right.
South Texas was booming with shale plays. And so we went down and we met with Anadarko Petroleum. And we said, Anadarko, y'all have the biggest footprint in the Eagle Ford shale. We have a ton of families that are coming from South Texas to Texas Children's for treatment, going to St. Jude for treatment. We need your help. And they literally didn't hesitate for 2 seconds. We're in. We built a committee of 35 people. We went one by one to service companies, to other oil companies. There's no competition in our world. And we said, we need you to join us. Here's the job. This is what we need. This is how much time we need from you. And we built a massive sporting clay tournament and concert that raised $1 million year one in
Wow.
2013. And that was pivotal for our organization, Rob. We had no staff for 7 years. No one worked for our organization as a paid employee. And after San Antonio's region opened, that's when we said, okay, we need to get down to business, grow up, run this like a business. And we hired our first employee in 2015. And so when we went to Midland, same thing. Anadarko said, hold on, we're doing the work there too. Let's get our team on board. So we built a committee of 35 people and we started a sporting clay tournament. And then the same thing for Tulsa. So it really takes someone with the passion and energy. It has traditionally been myself to go to these different communities and regions and say, I know there's a need. Here it is, right? I come with the facts. Here's the need for these families. This is what I need from you to make this event successful. And are y'all in or are you out? And everybody says, we're in. And then we just have to get rolling and start and just start. You have to try it. Our Tulsa event raised 250,000 the first year, and we're on a trend about 250, 200, 250, 200. Now we've got new committee members coming in, new fresh blood. We're recruiting constantly on social media, email blasts, and then through our own networks. If the chair of the event, right, has 3 friends that are on speed dial, okay, those 3 friends have 3 friends that are on speed dial. You get what I'm saying? But they really have
Absolutely.
like 150 friends in their network. And so we ask them, give us 3. Introduce our mission to 3 new people. We organically have built this organization, Rob. I mean, I'm talking one person to the next person to the next person. And we've been so fortunate to have passionate people about the mission that are like, oh yeah, okay, that event was awesome. And I must add, our expense ratios are some of the best in the business. We do not host an event that will take more than 20 cents of your dollar and put it towards expenses. So we have an 80-20 golden rule at Sky High for Kids. And we normally do it in 13 to 16 cents of every dollar. We're very proud of that. So our committees know if you're gonna come and volunteer your time at Sky High, get excited. But all those big ideas about big bands or big floor arrangements, that's wonderful. You got to go get it donated. We're not paying for it, right?
I love that answer. And I love, first of all, I love the power of three. I mean, that takes something that feels really overwhelming and makes it a lot more simple to people, I love the whole just try and start and find your core of three and build out from there. The other thing that I really appreciated hearing about was how there's a good level of dot connection of how you went from community to community. There was a dot connection, and a lot of it was organic. And, I want to turn and talk about Ladies Who Brunch because here's the deal. I know lots of luncheons that do well. They're on a Thursday morning, they're on a Wednesday morning, they're on a Friday morning. It is a whole different commitment to get people to get up early on Sunday, turn it out, and go. So tell me what motivated you to create this event, kind of where the inspiration came from, and how you knew deep down it would work.
So our inspiration comes from a past board member, Jennifer Palladina, who's a dear friend. One day we were all sitting around having a margarita, and she said, Brittany, our core value is family at Sky High for Kids. We traditionally host male dominant events, sporting clays, golf tournaments, right? Even like a cigar night that we would do, were primarily geared towards men. Okay. And she said, how are we going to get the wives involved? How are we going to get the daughters involved, the ladies? I said, Jen, we've never even thought about that. She said, I want to do a brunch. I said, okay, let's try it. So we gathered our friends, personal friends, and we said, okay, this is going to be a little sidebar of Sky High, but we feel that if we can get Cullen Spitzer's wife to come and Hugo's wife to come and Kyle's wife to come, right? That it can work. And they know about Sky High, but they don't know about Sky High, right? Their husbands are writing checks from their companies, they're attending a sporting clay tournament, and they're involved and they're in it and they're just as passionate. But what about, yeah, what about their children, right? How do we get the next generation involved? So it was a big like mind, experiment that day. And so that's what we did. We asked for all of our sporting clay shooters to invite their wives to our first brunch. We had a restaurant donate the entire thing, 100%, all food and beverages. We had 40 people in the room, and it was very intimate. We had floral we made ourselves, and we had the mission. We had a mom and her daughter come tell their story, right? She was, I think, 9 when she was diagnosed. And to have 40 women sit in a room, right? And some brought their daughters to hear a mom that is doing momming just like they are talk about her daughter, right? And her daughter to turn around and tell these moms, it's because of you I'm alive today. It was like, I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. You could have heard a pin drop on the floor, right? And we had a little fun, mimosas and a little silent auction. And it was just like this perfect little gathering that was mission focused. And then it was fun because they all came after church dressed up and came have a glass of champagne. It was like a perfect combo. That turned into some of the key ladies saying, what do we do for next year? When is next year? And we were like, oh, okay. So we gathered some of these key women and put them on our quote unquote committee. We said, help us build for next year. So we took the event from 40 women to 125 women. And then the event went to 225 women. And then the event went to 400 women. And so what happened was these initial women decided that this was going to be something special. And it was something special for them to do with their daughters, right? Or their best friends or their coworkers, all of it, right? And they said, this is going to work. And we built a committee of young professionals that were energetic and passionate. And today I can tell you, we've had some of the most phenomenal chairs in history. Logan Lester, Jessica Morrison, Anna Smart, Sydney Maffrich, and so many others that have taken time out of their busy schedules at 35 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, that just had a first child, that's a VP at a bank, right? A vice president of commercial real estate, and said, no, we're going to make this Sunday brunch and we're going to take it to the whole next level, right? So we just kept recruiting new women who were energized and ready to go. And so we took it from that 40-person room to now 650 women gather on a Sunday, starting at, if you're VIP, you come in at 10 a.m., you get a glass of cold champagne, you're entertained, you meet the families, you talk to the moms who are in it right now, you see the little girls, that are in it right now, and you tour that silent auction that is one of the best in history, right? I'm just telling you, our silent auction is, it's mind-blowing. And then you walk in that ballroom, and it is an event that I cannot properly describe. You have to be there. Rob, there's no men allowed, and you have an invitation. You should come. You should come. So we walk in that ballroom, and we have a runway that's from, like, you're in New York, Rob, and we have a fashion show that's hosted by Alchemia and Modern Marvelous Boutiques, and it feels like you're in New York City's fashion show. We have a live auction that is electrifying, and yours truly is the professional auctioneer for that event. So it gets really fun, and we get a little spicy on the mic because you got 3 champagne glasses down and you're just ready to roll. And then you hear the stories right? Then Christina gets on stage and talks about her 2-year-old Kennedy with brain cancer. And then Bara comes in her wheelchair. And Rob, it's the last time we
Yeah.
saw Bara.
Yeah.
Okay. The next time we saw her, we were at her funeral.
Right.
And so women are gathered in a fun, electrifying environment on a Sunday. They're given the sky high standard of like, I mean, we don't miss a beat. And they leave wanting to impact more families. It's just, I can't explain it.
That's incredible. The fact that you started it really kind of from an intimate brunch party, because that's really kind of what it
That's what it
began
was.
as, to see it blossom into a fashion show, into a live auction that you helm, into a really expansive silent auction from a smaller one. It's amazing to see that. And you also, you mentioned, several other people who have chaired over the years who are really, really impactful. And one question I have for you, that growth really happens because it really does take a village. So what is your process in finding chairs that will carry out the mission of Sky High in a way that will be true to you, but also may stretch you and stretch the organization a little bit?
That's a great question. We really hone in on the volunteers that have been with us, before, right? So we go out, we recruit new committee members, we recruit new volunteers to help run events day of. We recruit these board members, and we do it by, of course, giving the processes and procedures up front and the mission. And so it's very structured. Um, and we make sure they're on board with following our process and procedures in terms of budget, alcohol policy, confidentiality, all of the things that come along with it. And the most important part is their time commitment, right? We're not asking you for money, we're asking you for your time. Can you give us 2, 4, 6, 8 hours a month to lead, right, with our core values in the forefront and do all the things that we need you to do? So once we have those conversations, then we look for people who have already given a little bit of blood, sweat, and tears and ask them to take their time to the next level, right? So Jessica Morrison and Logan were both volunteers and attendees at the brunch. Then they got sucked into the mission. They joined the committee. And before you know it, because they're two natural leaders and have a lot of bandwidth in this community, they, you look and you see it, and they say, "Hey, we want to do more." And I say, "Okay, what are we talking here? Let's go." So it's people, Rob. It's relationship building. It's trust. It's energy. And so you have to invest the time as the CEO and founder or as an employee of Sky High into the volunteers. What makes what makes them happy? What makes them want to return as a volunteer? What makes them want to give that time away from their children at night because they have to conduct a committee meeting Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., right? And so when you find out what their motivation is and you can give, back to that motivation to some degree, it works. And then you give them the tools and the resources that they need. And yes, this is not easy, okay? Our chairs, our committee members, they're passionate, they get excited. Some want this to happen, some want that to happen. How do we get Kendra Scott as our guest speaker? What do we do here? And so we take all those ideas and we calculate them and we look at the ROI and we make sure the mission is centered and first. We don't make decisions that aren't going to put the mission first. And then we look at the ROI. Or if we're going to spend, I'm just throwing out a number, I have no idea. Let's say we're going to spend $100,000 to book Kendra Scott to be our guest speaker at Ladies Who Brunch, which would be wonderful. It would be amazing. But is that $100,000 going to turn into $500,000? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
bottom line. What is the ROI on the decisions that you make like that? And we've decided it's not. How would it? We're not sure. But baby, that's one of those spaghetti noodles we have to throw at the wall one day because our brunch is now so big and people are paying $20,000 for a table. Okay, see? All right, we've gone from $5,000 tables to now 7,500. Now they're 10. This year they're 10. A basic table to get in is 10. And our big boys, they're spending 16 and 20,000 to be front row up front and the presenting sponsor. So when we can get those to the next level and the next level and increase the sponsorship dollars and the money's there to support that $100,000 payment for Kendra Scott, and maybe, so okay, there you go. And then now maybe people will spend 25,000 on a table because they do want to meet Kendra Scott and spend 10 minutes with her having champagne. There's so much that goes into the decisions, but we look at the facts and we look at the years prior and we really calculate the ROI and the mission.
I
That was a
love
long-winded answer, Rob.
No,
Sorry.
but it was a perfect answer, and I really like how you explained it. That you know what your ultimate goal is. You'd love to have someone like Kendra Scott be a speaker, but you're not going to do it until you know that the event can handle it. And I think sometimes a lot of nonprofits struggle with this. They'll get ahead of their skis a little bit. And it's good that you realize, okay, I've got this goal and I want to hit, when I'm ready, I'll make the ask. But until then, we're going to keep making it a really vibrant, fun event with a killer fashion show. And I want to talk a little bit about this fashion show. So talk a little bit about what goes into putting on a good fashion show at an event. Because I've been to a lot of events. Some do okay, and then some are really spectacular. And I know some people who have gone to, Ladies Who Brunch in the past who have mentioned how wonderful the fashion show is. So what is the secret to putting on a good fashion show that really, has people's jaws dropping?
The secret is the people. Jen Grisby, Marla, Rochelle, and the volunteers that take, oh my gosh, Rob. I mean, I'm talking hours upon hours to one, source the models who are coming in free of charge. So you have to source professional models that are going to give their time. Some travel in from Austin, from Montgomery, from Baton Rouge. I'm talking, we got professional models that come in at no charge. Some walk in honor of friends they know that have passed from cancer. It's just so amazing. But you got to source the models. Then you have to spend an absorbent amount of your time picking out all of the outfits, right? They have to be in order with the season, which our brunch is late September. So it's not like Jen can pick out clothes now. So it's kind of a rushed last minute, like this is what's in for the new season. You have to get all those models fitted. You have to get the timing so perfect with the music, right? And so Rochelle and Jen and Marla and a few other volunteers focus sole time and attention to this fashion show. Lauren and Pavi, I mean, they're on it like white on rice. They've got all of the clothes ready on the racks. Pipe and Drape is hiding the models. We got hair and makeup going on. We've got food to make sure that they're not going to pass out on stage. We've got, I mean, there's so many details. So if you miss the details, it's going to be sloppy and it's just going to be kind of, half, what. And so they are so honed in on the details and they give so much time and they do it because they love the mission because they see the kids. And this year, I cannot say yet, Rob, but we have a very, very special treat in our fashion show that we're doing for the first time ever. I cannot say, but I'll tell you right now, our fashion show is going to another level this year and it's mission focused and people are going to be blown away. But that's the secret sauce, Rob. It's the planning, it's the preparation, it's the execution, and the execution at a standard that is New York fashion show level, right here in Houston, Texas, from a very small boutique. Alchemia, if you haven't been, it's fantastic. It's wonderful people, the clothes, everything. But it's a small boutique, you know? And to think that they can put on that type of show. Marla's in Round Top, Texas, in a little tin trailer selling all of her consignment items of Gucci and Dior and Fendi. And so we mix that in there. So you got some consignment items. You have some, LB shoes. And then you have, Alexa dress. I mean, it's the people, it's the models, it's the time, it's the volunteer. It's the people. It's the people.
Bottom line, the people. I completely agree with that. I mean, that is the one, if someone was ever to ask me, having gone to so many things over the year, what's the one secret sauce? It is the people. Everything else is secondary to that. And when you
Right.
create great experiences combined with great people, that's what makes everyone want to go to that event. And that's what makes the room burst with this amazing energy. And I know we're coming up on time here. So I want to end with one, well, really with two questions. One, is there anything else that you want to share about what's going to happen at this year's Ladies at Brunch?
So it is going to be a step up this year because of our presenting sponsor, which is Nan Properties, our fashion presented by Rice Residential. So we have some very key women in the community that are very large business owners that are coming in to really show up for the mission, but to help us add some bells and whistles this year. And so, look, you're going to walk in, and the first experience is the most efficient valet service you've ever experienced. And we've all valeted a lot of times. Super
Bane of my
efficient. At
existence sometimes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Rob, the Revere, which is our venue, which is top notch, Rachel Valls' place, it is top notch. She believes in service. And so you get out of your car, they grab your hand, they walk you up those steps. You're going to see the kids' faces before you even walk in. You're going to have pre registered, okay? And you get to skip the registration line, take all of your photos at that Balloon Girls wall with our amazing photographer, Quee Train. So it's like you walk in and you feel like you're already like at like some, I don't know, like where are we? On a red carpet
Yeah, I
somewhere, a
was going to say
celebrity
you're
event,
at the Met Gala at 10
Met
a.m.
Gala, right?
At
And
10
and
a.m.
the florals, right? The theme is moody floral this year. So I mean the ladies come out with the best outfit they could ever get this year. So it's just floral gowns and it's just beautiful. Take all your photos, walk in. The first thing you're gonna see is a bubbly champagne tower, and our ladies are there to serve you Vouv champagne, and it is $100 a glass. But Rob, we have $10,000 in diamonds on the tower, and you may win those diamonds. So when you buy a glass of champagne, all right, enjoy your bubbles, your name is going in the hat for Shaftel Diamonds hoop earrings or tennis necklace or tennis bracelet. And so, wow, like, okay, what a treat if I'm the one that's pulled, right? And this year we're going to have three winners, not just one, we're going to have three.
Wow.
Then you go to the left and we have our boutiques. So Alchemia has their shop set up, Modern Morla has their shop set up, and then it's the silent auction experience. And I can't explain it, but there's over 75, like when I say 75 packages, I'm talking packages. Okay. You might be going to Big Sky, Montana on a private plane, or you might be going to have an entire day at Trellis Spa. It's very big, awesome items, and our committee works tirelessly to get these things donated 100%. Everything is donated 100%. You walk the silent auction, a guy's going to come up to you, a cowboy, because that's our little extra treat. We have about 15 well dressed cowboys in the room that come serve you a next glass of wine and tell you about, do you want to buy Bara's bracelets, or would you like to come take more photos here? And so it's just an experience that's like no other. Walk into the ballroom. Here we go. We're going to have a spectacular program with our families. We're going to have a bone chilling and electrifying fashion show. The live auction this year is taking it up a level with some of the most unique items we've ever been able to obtain from our donors. And you're going to celebrate wins with us, and you're going to be motivated to continue to support us because you're going to meet some moms that have lost their children. Okay. And that's the hard part about the event. But that's what I think keeps people coming.
Yeah.
Rob, you said it. How many events do we go to? One after another after another. And yes, there's some good ones out there. But Rob, I go to events and I never leave really understanding the mission. What was my $5,000 for? Right? What was my $20,000 for? Whatever it is, you're going to leave knowing exactly where your dollars are going. And it's in a way where it's a mix of some tears and a lot of laughs and a lot of cheers and just, yeah. And then the networking that goes on, Rob.
Absolutely.
There's women from all different industries across the entire state. We have people traveling from Louisiana for this event. Actually, we have people that actually come in from North Carolina as
Oh,
well. And
wow.
so, yeah, it's like, so the networking, right? Lawyers meeting
Hmm.
designers, meeting real estate agents, bankers, I mean, oil and gas, whatever. And so the networking piece is huge too. I mean, at our brunch, do you think I would have ever met Ann Evers, who owns all the dry bars here in Houston? I think she has one in Austin too.
Yeah.
No, would I've met, I mean, we met so many amazing people. So I'll leave it with that. The cherry on top this year show. I'll just say that.
All right. Well, I'm expecting it to be especially, and it's always good to have a little bit of a tease. That's why you need to get your tickets. And I want to end with one final question, and that is, what is one thing all successful fundraising events have in common?
Okay, so all right, one more time.
What
Ask me
is
the
one
question one more
thing
time.
all successful fundraising galas have in common?
Well, it should be the mission. It's the
Sim
people. It's simple. It's the mission.
Yeah.
It should be the mission.
Absolutely. Everyone's got a different answer with that, but that is the perfect, that's a perfect kind of mic drop answer for our chat. I mean, I can't thank you enough for the time today, Brittany. You gave us so many wonderful insights on so many different things, but what I appreciated hearing about this event was it literally started as a brunch party, like an intimate brunch party, and it has blossomed into something really spectacular. So I can't thank you enough again for the time today. And congratulations in advance on a great event.
Thank you, Rob. Let me know if you want to come.
Absolutely, I will. And Sky High's 2024 Ladies Who Brunch will be on September 29th, 2024 at the Revere in Houston, Texas. For more information, please visit skyhighforkids.org. And that will do it for this episode of Fun and Fundraising. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, reminding you to keep it fun, keep it interesting, and your guests will have a great time. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.